Good evening, everyone. I hereby call this annual town meeting to order. Good evening and welcome to the 2026 Town of Hatfield Annual Town Meeting. I'm Bobby Betzel, your town moderator. Thank you, everyone, for taking the time out of your busy schedules to be here with us tonight. For all of the mothers in attendance, I hope you had a great Mother's Day this past weekend. As always, before we begin, I would like to cover a few housekeeping items. The emergency exits are out the 4 doors, front and back of the gymnasium on each side. Restrooms are out either of the doors at the front of the gym. If you are not a registered voter of the town of Hatfield, I do ask that you please sit in the bleachers to my left, your right. That way we make sure we don't have any interference with any of the deliberations or any votes that we do have. If you've not already picked up your handouts or packets, those are available on the table in the back. And lastly, as always, out of respect to everyone, I ask that everyone please do mute your cell phones. And if you do need to take a call, then please exit the gymnasium to do so. Each year, moderators across the Commonwealth start our town meetings with opening remarks. They are typically a combination of history, civics, perspective, reflection, and more. Some remarks are longer, some shorter, some more personal, and some more general. For me personally, preparing this opening statement is both the most stressful and humbling experience and part of town meeting. Setting the stage for the discussions we will have and the decisions we will make, these few brief moments serve as an important opportunity for all of us to understand what we are a part of this evening as part of town meeting. Town meeting is more than just a tradition. It is one of the purest forms of democracy still practiced today. For generations, residents have gathered annually to debate issues and make decisions that will shape our future, both personally and as a community. As we approach our nation's 250th anniversary, we should remember that many of the democratic traditions of our country started here in New England in meetings just like this. The 250th anniversary serves as an opportunity not only to celebrate our history, but also to reflect on the responsibilities that come with self-government. Generations of residents before us have faced uncertainty, disagreement, sacrifice, and unending change. Yet they understood that communities can only succeed when citizens are engaged and work together. Our responsibilities today are very much the same as this. We are fortunate to live in a town with strong values and a tremendous sense of community, qualities that continue to define our small town character and make Hatfield our home. At the same time, we continue to face ever-real challenges, balancing budgets, maintaining infrastructure, supporting public safety in schools, and meeting the evolving needs of our residents. We work to face these challenges while preserving the charm and character of the town of Hatfield that we know, while also preparing responsibly for the future that lays ahead of all of us. To do so requires that we all engage in thoughtful discussion, compromise, and shared effort towards our common goal. Tonight, we will likely not agree on every article and every decision that will be made, and that is both expected and healthy. Differences of opinion are part of democracy and part of what makes town meeting work. What matters most is that we all understand the need for respect, patience, and the appreciation that everyone here tonight has the shared common goal of a great community. As I've said each year during my opening remarks, we all walked in here tonight as neighbors who want the best for our town, and when we walk out tonight, we are the same. The same as past meetings, we will follow some very similar procedures that are pretty simple. If you wish to speak, please either raise your hand or approach the microphone. We do have a portable mic if anyone does need it. If it's your first time at the mic, we do ask that you please identify yourself with your name and the street that you're on for the record. When speaking, remember, please face forward and do not face the crowd and address your remarks here to the stage. Out of respect for time and opportunity, speakers are asked to limit your time to the mic to a maximum of 2 times per article, and also be respectful of the length of time that you're speaking. We do have a very full agenda, and as has been our past practice for many years, if we start approaching 10 p.m. and still have a significant amount left, then we will proceed to another night. Now, before we begin, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce our town officials, who you may hear from this evening, as well as who have been part of the preparations for this evening's meeting. To my immediate right, our town clerk, Elena Wilcox. Working, checking in folks in the back, along with our registrars, is Assistant Town Clerk Lori Picard. To my right on the floor, thank you to Alan Seawald, who is once again filling in for Town Council. Also to my right on the floor, Town Administrator Andrew Levine. Congratulations, Andrew, and to your wife, Charlotte, for your recent second child. Also, we have Public Works Director Marla Warner. To my left, in the middle, Select Board Chair Ed Jaworski. To my direct left, Member Luke Longstreet. And then third on the Select Board seat, Greg Gagnon. Further to my left, Finance Committee Chair Sean Barry, and members Darrell Williams, David Keir, and John Wilkes Jr. Also here in the audience and in other places, we have Town Treasurer Collector Tammy Wendolowski, Town Accountant Elizabeth Bracchia, Executive Assistant Karen Brodeur, School Superintendent Dr. Connor Driscoll, and School Committee Chair Christy Boudreau, Fire Chief Bob Flaherty, and Police Chief Mike DeKoschek. And as has been in the past, when we do get into the meeting deliberations, we have several of our department heads who are not residents of Hatfield and not active voters. If there is a need for them to speak in their capacity as a department head, then I will allow them to come up, as has been our past practice. I would also like to thank our entire town hall staff and all of our town employees, as well as everyone who serves on one of our town boards and committees. The work, the time, and the effort of everyone is what makes our town the place that it is, and we appreciate greatly you taking the time that you do. Before we get going, I will now turn it over to Ed, who will make a few brief announcements.
Each year, we choose a resident or a former town employee to honor with the dedication of our annual report. Each year, there's many people in our great town to pick from. This year, we are dedicating our report in memoriam to Richard O'Day. Richard O'Day graduated from Smith Academy in Hatfield in 1960. He went on to earn a Bachelor's of Science in Business Administration from AIC in 1964, followed by a Master's of Business Administration in 1974. He worked as business manager for WGGB TV in Springfield for 28 years, retiring in 1999. A lifelong resident of Hatfield, Richard gave generously of his time and talents to his community. He served for many years on the Hatfield Finance Committee and the Smith Academy Board of Trustees, and also enjoyed coaching his daughter's youth, softball, and basketball teams. In recent years, he could often be found working at the polls during town elections. In retirement, Richard loved traveling with his wife and friends throughout the U.S., Europe, South America, and the Caribbean. His greatest joy, however, came from spending time with his granddaughters, attending their sporting events, concerts, and plays. He was also a devoted fan of the Red Sox, Patriots, and UConn women's basketball. Richard passed away peacefully on September 10th, 2025. We dedicate this year's annual report in gratitude for his service to the town. And Chief DeKoschek is going to hand the town report to Janice. Mrs. O'Day, are you here? Right here. How about a big long round of applause for, thank you.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you, Chief. Adjust this back here. Sorry. Good. Okay. With that, let's begin. When you're ready. Yep.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move we take up Article 2.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article 2 as in your handout.
Yes, Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Longstreet.
I move the town vote to authorize its treasurer, subject to the approval of the Select Board, to enter into a compensating balance agreement or agreements for fiscal year 2026 pursuant to Chapter 44, Section 53F of the General Laws.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 2. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of Article 2, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 2 carries.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move we take up Article 3.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article 3 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $42,076.19 from free cash to supplement the fiscal year 2026 snow and ice budget for unforeseen expenses.
Second.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 3. Is there any further discussion? Yes, Mike.
Mike Cahill, North Street. Before we get into this article and all the others that are to follow involving free cash, I'm just wondering if you would permit some sort of a higher view of what's free cash is happening and what's going on. And we began the year with free cash at $500,000, as I understand it, and we received another certification for an additional $500,000, so brought our free cash up to about $1 million. If we go through tonight's articles and pass all of the expenditures from free cash, we will end up with about $300,000 in free cash, $200,000 less than we began this year. So from what I'm reading and hearing, it's likely that we may not get as much free cash certified this coming year as we did this year. And if we continue to expend this kind of monies from free cash, it looks like we could end up the beginning of next year with no free cash. So I'm just wondering if the Finance Committee could kind of comment on the implications of that.
Well, the implications of hypothetically having no free cash would not be good. I don't know that that's true. I mean, we will get additional free cash, I'm assuming, this coming year, as we have for, I don't ever remember a time in the last 20 years when that has not happened. I mean, overall, there is a structural budget deficit that we are using some free cash to fill. I don't know that this is a great example of it, this particular article, because we use free cash every year for this purpose and have for, again, 20 years or whatever. And this is actually a little less than normal. The snow and ice isn't actually that much less than normal, but we found some other budgetary ways to cover it, part of it, from within the DPW budget. So, I mean, I agree that it's problematic, and that the reason we're saving, I mean, there have been plenty of years as well where we used all the free cash. I mean, that's also not been uncommon. So, you know, saving, as it were, $300 and whatever it is, $1,000, $300 some odd $1,000 worth of free cash is actually considerable, and I think it will certainly, hopefully, buy us at least one more year if we don't make some changes. Now, some of these things in here that we're going to use free cash for are, you know, things that you would hope not to see again. I mean, we've taken about, in the last 18 months, about a 60% increase in health insurance. If it continues at that pace, we'll have to make extreme changes in the way that we run the entire town. There's no way to sustain that. There's no way for any town that I'm aware of in the Commonwealth to sustain those kinds of increases over time. So I wouldn't expect that to continue again, and in some ways that is an impact of having used insurance trust funds, not the town, but the insurance trust, of using its own trust funds to lower the rate artificially. Some would argue, I would argue. And so you would hope not to see anything like that going forward. But there is no doubt that we're going to have to make some changes in terms of the financial picture of the town over the next 2 years.
I thought it would be important, before we get into all the free cash voting, that people would have this understanding, this perspective of where we're at with free cash and where we may end up.
Yeah, I agree. I don't see the situation as immediately dire, and I think that we could kind of get through the next 2, maybe 3 years, or the next year or 2 without doing any kind of major changes. But beyond that, we are going to need to do something, unless costs suddenly go down, which I'm not expecting.
The other thing is, last year when we came to town meeting, there was a plan to have about $400,000 left over in free cash, which is not significantly different than what we're proposing this year. It's about a $60,000 difference. But if you remember last year, one of the articles that we were going to spend money on for free cash was voted down. So that put $140,000 back into our free cash that we were planning to spend last year, but we didn't. So our number last year at the end ended up being much higher than we had planned. So this number here is really not significantly different than what we had as a plan going into town meeting last year. So that's another piece of the puzzle as well.
Okay. Any further discussion on Article number 3? If not, all those in favor of the article, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 3 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move we take up Article number 4.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 4 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move that the town vote in accordance to General Law, Chapter 44, Section 64, to authorize the payment of one or more bills from past fiscal years and appropriate $2,790 from free cash to pay these bills.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 4. Is there any discussion? Okay. If not, all those in favor of Article number 4, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay. And Article 4, you do have to know, Article 4 is a 4/5 vote. So per our bylaws, I do have to ask, is anyone challenging the Article 4 carrying? If not, Article 4 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move we take up Article 5.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 5 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that the town vote to transfer funds as follows for engineering and legal services for mitigation of the Route 5 infrastructure project. From Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund retained earnings, $60,000. From ATM 51325, Article 9, MS4 Engineering Services, $30,000.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 5. Excuse me. Is there any discussion?
This reflects the project poorly managed,
Larry,
as well as other projects.
Larry, can you state name for the record, name and address for the record?
Larry Grossman, King Street. This article, for everyone here, reflects further poor management of the 510 sewer project, similar to the DPW sewer other project, the wastewater project. But this one, I'm wondering, there's been a lot of talk, are we going to get this $90,000 back if there's a settlement or a lawsuit concerning this project?
Luke, you want to...
It is the town's anticipation to pursue those funds and try to get this back. Yes, this is the town's goal.
Okay. Any further discussion on Article number 5? If not, all those in favor of Article number 5, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 5 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move we take up Article 6.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 6 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $10,000 from free cash to be placed in the other post-employment benefits liability trust fund.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 6. Is there any discussion? Mike.
Just a real quick question. Does anyone have any idea what our total OPEB liability is at this point?
So I do not have the number of the OPEB liability. I can tell you that right now there's $40,000 in the OPEB trust. Our financial policies ask that we put in $10,000 per year to start working towards fulfilling that full liability. I can certainly follow up with what exactly the number is, but I can tell you that we're not there yet, meeting that liability with only $40,000 in that trust.
Any further discussion on Article number 6? If not, all those in favor of Article number 6, please signify by saying aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 6 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move we take up Article number 7.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 7 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $90,597.42 from free cash to balance the past accounting journal entry discrepancy.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 7. Is there any discussion?
David Brill, 106 Elm Street, Hatfield. What was the accounting journal discrepancy?
So happy to speak to this. We have a statement from our accountants. At the close of FY23, the accountant at the time posted journal entries in order to avoid a significant decrease to free cash. They're covering. Can you hear me, Mike? Yeah, louder. All right. Can you hear me now?
There we go.
All right. So, folks, we've got a journal entries that were listed in order to avoid a significant decrease in free cash FY23. At the time, there was a significant amount of turnover going on in both our accounting office and our treasurer's office. The information was not conveyed that had been done. The auditors pointed out in FY24 that these journal entries were made. The accountants did not have time to try to transfer these funds and make up for this. So this year they did a pretty deep dive to try to find where was this money, what was done. And what they found at the end of it was this $90,000 you see now. $20,000 came from a deficit for the Town Hall Phase 2 accessibility improvement project, $46,000 on the West Street water upgrade project. An incorrect journal entry is used to cover the deficit. The additional funds had not been borrowed because it looked like the fund was balanced, even though it wasn't. An annual town meeting Article 8 from 2019, there was a study extent of inflow. A town meeting vote of over $25,000 was never recorded. So that was money that the town voted to move, was never actually moved. So they went back, did this deep dive, found these three things. A lot of work to go back and figure this out. $90,000 that essentially had been voted to be taken from free cash, but was never done. So now what we're doing is we're respecting those votes that were done in the past, moving the funds.
Any further discussion on Article number 7? If not, all those in favor of Article number 7, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 7 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that we take up Article 8.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 8 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $38,700 from free cash to supplement the town's FY 2026 budget for employee health insurance expenses under General Law, Chapter 32B.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 8. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of Article number 8, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article number 8 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move we take up Article 9.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 9 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $35,000 from free cash to be placed in the unemployment insurance trust account.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 9. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of Article number 9, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article number 9 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move we take up Article number 10.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 10 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $50,000 from free cash to be placed in the town's ambulance receipts reserved for appropriation account to fund anticipated ambulance fees by South County Emergency Medical Services.
Greg, can you just reread? You missed the word charged in there. So if you
sure.
can- yep.
All right, I'll do it again. I move that the town vote to appropriate $50,000 from free cash to be placed in the town's ambulance receipts reserved for appropriation account to fund anticipated ambulance fees charged by South County Emergency Medical Services.
Thank you. You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 10. Is there any discussion? Mike.
So this is a fee that we're anticipating would happen this coming year because of the situation that we have with South Deerfield. But it's also something we anticipate coming in future years. And I guess my question is, why wouldn't this be in the operating budget?
Anyone?
Can you clarify the question? I mean, why wouldn't it be in the operating budget? I mean, it is going to be in the operating budget as an expenditure. You mean, why wouldn't it be raised by taxation?
Right.
Because we'd have to cut $50,000 for something we don't have.
Yeah, I would just add that, so it is in the budget, the operating budget, and part of the funding source will be, ambulance receipts reserved revenue. We found out about this, midway through the budget process. This is an extra expense. We thought that this year we wanted to supplement it as well with free cash. We're going to need to come up with a longer-term solution for how to cover this fee when it comes in, and it's something that the fire chief has been working on for a while. So for this year, we're helping to supplement that with a free cash transfer as well.
Any further discussion? Yep.
When we get to the budget, you will see there's an adjustment to try to make this work better.
Patrick Harper, Bridge Street. What's the future plan for this? Because I noticed if you flip further pages, it says $70,000, not $50,000 for the upcoming year. And then obviously the fee is going to go up every year for South County. They're a very busy ambulance service. What's our 5-year plan for dealing with this issue? Because it's not just going to go away.
So I would say, honestly, we don't have a 5-year plan at this moment. I think right now this was done to give us a next year plan. And one of the next items you'll see in this warrant is for consultant studies to help us figure out what options might look like for a number of departments, but fire, ambulance has to be one of them, to look at what we can do to ensure long-term stability or look at opportunities for regionalization and for shared services as well. So we need to create that plan this year.
Any other discussion under Article number 10? If not, all those in favor of Article number 10, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article number 10 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that we take up Article number 11.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 11 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $50,000 from free cash for consultant support for studying or implementing efficiencies in service delivery by town departments, including regionalization, shared services, or consolidation.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 11. Is there any discussion?
I guess I'd like clarification. Is this, when you use the word regionalization, is one of the projects of efficiency have to do with the regionalization of the schools, particularly Smith Academy? And then secondly, this is interesting because when the Hampshire County dissolved, they formed something called the Council and Government, a COG, and that was all about looking for efficiencies in group purchasing and other shared services among the communities. So it seems like we're kind of duplicating, or what you're trying to go forward is try to do a COG, again, looking not only internally, but maybe with neighboring communities. Is that, maybe you could explain this a little more, but especially the aspect of the school.
I mean, I can address the COG because I was county commissioner and I was representative on the COG. I mean, it's gone, number one. But also, it had no funding mechanism. So it had to, unlike the regional planning agencies, which are funded by statute, it had to fund itself via opportunities. So it wasn't truly free to go out and pursue just general regionalization because it also needed to stay alive at the same time. And it was also in some ways limited to just Hampshire County, which is a little difficult for Hatfield where we're situated to just consider Hampshire County towns as potential regional partners because our closest neighbor is a much larger city. And we're, other than Williamsburg, we don't really have easy geographical access to a lot of other small Hampshire County towns, whereas if we looked into Franklin County or other places, we might have more opportunities there because they're more similarly sized, similarly situated, and geographically accessible.
Yep, Mike, sorry. Yep.
My question has to do with how did we come up with $50,000? Did we receive some sort of guesstimates from a consultant or consultants? And if that's the case, what did we share with that consultant in order for that person or that organization to come up with this amount of money?
So we based the dollar value off of the report that was done by the consulting service for the fire and ambulance a few years ago, which was about $25,000. So this would establish a fund for us to be able to start getting some money put aside for different consulting services, whether it be DPW, fire, police, schools, any of those various departments within the town to make us more efficient.
Yep. I'm pretty loud. Still, we need you to come up. Yep, sorry. It's either that or the roaming mic.
So I wanted to hear a little bit more about.
We just need name and
Joe
street for the address.
Solowski, Mountain Road. A little bit more about the COG. It sounds like essentially there was an organization that existed to provide efficiencies, and it survived by providing efficiencies and having that money to survive. And that organization died because it couldn't provide enough efficiencies. And now they're asking us to pay more money to try to provide efficiencies when there was an organization that died because it couldn't sustain itself by providing enough efficiencies. It sounds like we're saying, where are all the beans? We don't have enough beans. Let's take a bunch of beans, spend them on somebody to count the beans. It's not adding more beans by counting them.
I would agree with that. And I can only speak because I happen to be a long time. I was involved in the transition between the county and the COG, so I know the history of it. And I will say that generally speaking, nobody asks governmental entities to be self-sustaining based on just finding efficiencies. That there aren't really many good examples of governments that run without taxation. And that was what it was doing. So, you know, you could make an argument that it was set up not to be successful. Even if you find efficiencies, you not only have to find efficiencies, but then you have to find overhead on top of it, which is difficult. So while two towns might be able to get together and do something that's more efficient, can a third party also make a living off of that? And that's, I think, a little bit of a different question. But I mean, I don't know that there's a lot of great answers for efficiencies. I mean, you can look around at things that have been done. I mean, there was a question about schools. You can look around. How many new school regionalization projects have occurred in the last forever, since the original, you know, without the state putting in massive amounts of money?
I guess that follow-up question, if this is about regionalizing the schools, should that be what the question is, not a more generic question looking for efficiencies?
Because I think that what the intention was, and this is not my article, so, but I think the intention at some level was, if you're going to put together a committee of folks from the town involving various boards and at-large and whatever, as has been talked about, you're not going to get very far without some kind of staff support. Just sitting around and trying to do the mathing at a committee level is going to be really difficult, and you're going to need some kind of support for that, regardless of what specific things you're looking at. And I think that was the intention.
Yeah, and the other portion of it would also be that there is some new state funding that has been released to start looking at some of these efficiencies. And so by having a fund established, it would allow us to start going after those as well, especially if there's a matching component or something like that.
Thank you.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on Article number 11? If not, all those in favor of Article number 11, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 11 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move we take up Article 12.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 12 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of General Law C-40, Section 13E, to allow the Hatfield Public Schools to create...
Ed, can you just start that over? Can you start that over? You missed a couple letters in there.
I want that again?
Yep, just start at the beginning. Thank you.
I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of General Law C-40, Section 13E, to allow the Hatfield Public Schools to create a reserve fund to pay without further appropriation for unanticipated or unbudgeted costs of special education and recovery high school programs, out-of-district tuition, or transportation.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 12. Is there any discussion? Yep.
This is related to the next Article 2. If we support the creation of this reserve fund, then we're going to be asked to fund it for $50,000. And I just want everyone to understand what's going on here is that the school department has taken away $50,000 basically from their budget, so it looks like they're level funded, but in fact they're getting $50,000 for SPED through this vehicle, through this creation of a trust fund that we're funding from free cash, or no, special ed, or free cash. So I think, unless you should explain it that's what it looks like on paper.
The money, as it says in the article, it can only be spent on unanticipated special education costs. That have to be approved by the Board of Selectmen and the school committee. So it would be, it wouldn't even necessarily be spent unless there was an unbudgeted special education cost that came up. That's the intent of it. The intent of it is that as we have laid off teachers and tightened the school budget this year, there's no money to cover an unanticipated. So if a student moves to town or a student in town needs a special education, either a para, an out-of-district placement, transportation to a day placement, we don't have funding to cover that. And it's a legally mandated obligation. So it would have to come out of general education or other students. So if that happens, we want to be prepared and not have to come back to town meeting, which gets, frankly, really dicey in terms of voting on some individual child's special education need at town meeting. I don't like that idea, and I think this is a better idea, to have a fund that the Board of Selectmen, the school committee can look at it and decide if this is something that we need to do.
It's an idea. It's an idea, but it's ironic that it's happening at a year when, first of all, we've never had it. We've always funded SPED, and I'm a supporter of SPED. I'm never going to take money away from SPED. It's, apple pie. But we've never done it this way. We've funded SPED through the budget process, through the annual appropriation. And now we've pulled out $50,000, and it now will not appear on their budget. So it allows them to look like they've level funded, but really they've saved $50,000 that you've put in a revolving fund like this.
Sean?
So
I don't know if that's happened.
We've also funded surprise costs in the past with school choice funding, which has always been available or has been available for a long time. And that funding resource has pretty much dried up. So if something like that were to happen in the middle of the school year, there's no place to go to get this money other than to come back to the taxpayers and say, we need $100,000 or $135,000 or whatever it is to pay for this child's education. And we're just trying to start this. It's a savings account. It's a reserve account. It's going to be there just in case. It's not going to get spent unless it's an emergency, middle of the year, unanticipated budget problem. That's what it is. It's not giving extra money to the school department for their budget, okay? It's not that.
So, Christy Boudreau, Main Street, Chair of the Hatfield School Committee, and I just want to speak a little bit to the need that drove the request for this, is that we have had really unprecedented increases in special education costs. So for this current fiscal year, we budgeted an additional 25% for special education, which was $464,818 was part of our budget this year. We're projecting an increase for FY27 that we're all talking about now for an additional 21%, which is over $500,000. And so we are continuing to budget for special education needs beyond anything that we have record of. Because out-of-district placement costs have gone so high. And so this current year, while we budgeted $464,000 more than we needed the prior year, we got to October and found unanticipated needs, unbudgeted needs, and we did pull from school choice reserve funds to cover those costs to the tune of about $232,000. With that spending this year, we didn't have to come back to town and ask for additional funds because we had the choice dollars to do that. And we just came forward this year and said, we will not have that level of reserve available. And the state has created this type of account fairly recently, which gave us a new venue to continue to just be good stewards of tax dollars and making sure that we're saving for these unanticipated needs. It's not seen as part of a hide and seek in our budget. Thank you.
So Superintendent Driscoll is going to speak again. He's not a registered voter. He's here speaking his capacity as superintendent.
Thank you. And thank you, Christy, for that. And just to add to that, I want to be clear that currently all known costs for special education are contained within our budget. Everything that we know and anticipate that we're going to need to spend next year is within our budget. But we don't know what we don't know. And so as was said, if we have someone who moves into town with needs that we can't support and we are legally obligated to pay for something like an out-of-district placement or transportation. This gives us a place to say, okay, we have that cushion without calling a special town meeting, without coming to town finance to do that. So our budget, our current budget, reflects all known needs that we have.
Okay. Is there any further discussion under Article number 12? If not, all those in favor of Article number 12, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article number 12 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move we take up Article 13.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 13 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $50,000 from free cash to Special Education Reserve Fund.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 13. Is there any discussion?
I wonder why this wouldn't be funded by the school's choice money. And what is the current balance of the choice fund?
Just to answer that quickly, once we get all of the known school choice dollars appropriated into FY27, we will be at a zero balance for that account. There will not be additional choice funds available to support FY27.
Just on the first part, only because it would make no sense to fund it from the school choice account. It wouldn't make any sense to do that because you could just use that money in the same way if there were money there. So there would be no reason to create this account or fund it from a school choice account. It would make no sense.
Okay. Any further discussion on Article number 13? If not, all those in favor of Article number 13, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 13 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that we take up Article 14.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 14 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that the town transfer the following amounts from previously passed warrant articles to supplement the 2027 fiscal year budget as presented in your handout.
You've heard, go ahead.
Annual town meeting article, Smith Academy carpets, $4,653.91. Annual town meeting article, new police cruiser, $21,500. Annual town meeting article, trash compactor, $2,448.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 14. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of Article number 14, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 14 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move we take up Article 15.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 15 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move that the town vote to appropriate $16,433,397 for and consistent with separate purposes and separate line items set forth in the version of the fiscal year 2027 budget prepared by the Finance Committee, approved May 12, 2026, and on file with the town clerk, and to meet said appropriation as follows. To raise and appropriate $14,450,329 from Cable TV Enterprise Fund, $78,810 from Water and Sewer Enterprise Fund, $1,423,705 from Free Cash, $140,000 from Ambulance Revenue Fund, $244,736 from Ambulance Surplus Fund, $9,817 from Cemetery Perpetual Care Interest Fund, $500 from Cemetery Sale of Lots, $9,500. From overlay surplus, $30,000. From the Tree Works Host Community Agreement, $40,000. From Wetlands Protection Funds, $6,000.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 15. So this is the budget article. I'll give you a moment. I know we have a separate handout for that. I'll give people a moment to take a look at that. Certainly we can take any questions throughout, but typically we do kind of just try and look at this in a bit of a section by section. So we'll give everyone a moment to get to the budget and take a look if there are any questions. Any questions that everyone has on the budget article? Michael.
So this is the biggie. And I have a question. I know that the Finance Committee may not have an answer for this, but I think Andrew might have an answer for this because he and I have had a couple of emails about it. The first line item, the $14,450,329, that's the amount of money that will be raised from taxation. That's the amount of money that will be driving the increase in property taxes. It's the amount of money that each one of us will end up having to pay when we get that property tax bill. And I'm just wondering, could someone share what the increase is in that versus last year, so that people have some idea as to what the impact of this budget might be on next year's property taxes?
Right. I mean, 2.5%. I mean, I guess the short answer would be that it's an increase of 2.5% over the levy limit, plus new growth, plus any debt exclusion overrides that we have voted on in the last 2 years, maybe, depending on the borrowing cycles. So that's the total. I mean, you're limited by law as to what you can do unless we vote to override it. And I haven't backtracked it to the average single-family tax bill.
So I've done some number crunching, and here's my sense of where this is. The amount right now, the impact on our property taxes for next year will be the levy limit, which consists of 2.5%, property 2.5% increase, our new growth, and our debt exclusions all add up to about 3.3, 3.4% ahead of last year's amount to be raised from taxation. But I think it's important that on top of that, people need to realize that we still have a 3% CPA surcharge, which some of the value of our homes are exempted from that. But I think if you add that to that 3.5%, you're looking at probably 5 to 6% increase in taxes. That's my estimate. So, if everything's voted through.
The 3% CPA has been there for years. So that's coming in anyways, no matter what. That's been voted on by the town for years. So that's part of your tax bill this year. It was part of your tax bill last year. It was part of your tax bill for years in the past. So it's not really anything new that's going to be added to your taxes next year. But one that we all know about because it's been there forever. And so no different than the 2.5%, which is the maximum that we can raise by statute. I mean, it's there. There's no way around it. Well, you could vote to reduce the budget, but then your services now are then going to have to be cut.
I mean, really, the CPA has really nothing to do with this article in terms of the money to be raised.
Mike, if you're gonna talk, you got to come to the mic. You know that.
I understand the CPA increase doesn't have anything to do with this, but I just wanted people to have some sense as to what, if we vote all of this tonight, what we're looking at in terms of property tax increases next year.
I guess I would also say it's not a 3% increase at all. It's not a 3% increase at all. An increase over what?
It's a 3% surcharge.
The 3% existed last year too. When you use the word increase, you're implying that something is going up.
Yeah. It's not going up.
It's not going up. It was there last year. It was there the year before that and the year before that.
CPA's always been, okay, our tax bill won't go up, that's good. Another point of revenue, because he was talking about taxes, the water sewer production is going up about $200,000 from 1.4 million to 1.6 million. So does that mean that our water sewer bills are anticipated to go up roughly 20% again?
This was built with an expectation of raising the similar amount from last year, which was also in a rate study that had been put together 2 years ago. All of that was designed to try to raise the amount of retained earnings that we have in water and sewer, so that either one could cover, a large event were to take place if there was some kind of large break or something. The goal is to get closer. It's about $1 million in retained earnings, and right now it's about 700,000. So it was built to, I think, a 4% increase, which the select board will still have to vote on that. So please come to the public hearing when they have that and voice anything about potentially raising those rates.
Bobby, just one more.
Yep, Mike. Yep.
One last comment. I'm 100% in favor of this budget. I've seen all the numbers. I've seen worksheets and workbooks and whatever, and I'm 100% in favor of this budget. The other thing, which is good news, is that if the property tax increase is 5 to 6%, that's going to be our lowest increase that this town has seen in probably 3 or 4 years. Congratulations.
Yeah, no, that's, I mean, part of that has to do with how debt exclusions have played out over the time, for sure. I would just say, in specific regard to water and sewer increases, I certainly appreciate the that water and sewer bills have increased fairly significantly, but in fairness, the taxpayers have just taken on a $12 million project on behalf of the people on the sewer, essentially, which is less than half the town. So, there's a massive subsidy going from the taxpayers to people who utilize the sewer.
Lucinda Williams, Depot Road. I have a question about the 91.2% increase in the ambulance line. Can someone shed some light? Or am I reading it incorrectly?
You're probably not. So in the past, we had shown fire and ambulance as being one account. We've moved it to fire and ambulance in order to better show that the ambulance needs to be balanced in part by the revenue that it receives. So it looks a lot larger than the past. Also, that $70,000 that was mentioned before that will now be assessed from South County EMS, that's been added to this budget. So we've gone from about $120,000 budget to adding that $70,000. The other thing we've done to that ambulance budget is we've better accounted for how fire and ambulance staff are splitting their time. It used to show more like a 90-10 split between fire and ambulance. This brings it a little closer to 60-40, which is more similar to how that time is spent. So it is a large increase in ambulance, but it makes sense because of a better time split, that new South County EMS, and then the ambulance is actually paid for in part by this revenue. So you'd want to see the budget better accounting for how time is spent and how funds are used in order to capture that revenue more properly.
We've gone back and forth.
Okay, is there any other discussion under Article number 15? Okay, with none, all those in favor of Article number 15, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 15 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move we take up Article 16.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 16 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move that the town vote to rescind the bond authorization voted for the repair and replacement of the Hatfield Elementary School roof and boilers, Article 26, at the May 13, 2025 annual town meeting.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 16. Is there any discussion? If not,
Could somebody explain this? Only because last year it was a crisis that our new school needed a second roof already and another boiler. So now we're rescinding it. So please just explain what happened.
We didn't need all the money.
Yes,
we had two articles. We had one for a borrowing and one for a debt exclusion. And we didn't need both those things. We only needed one of those things. So the project was done, but so now we have this authorization sitting out there to borrow money for something we don't need. So it's just a cleanup to rescind it.
okay. Any further discussion on Article number 16? If not, all those in favor of Article number 16, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 16 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that we take up Article 17.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 17 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that the town vote to set the spending limits for the revolving funds under Massachusetts General Laws, Chapter 44, Section 53E1/2, for the fiscal year beginning July 1, 2026 as follows. Revolving Fund, Community Garden, $5,000. DPW Motor Grader, $5,000. Hazardous Materials, $20,000. Tax Title, $75,000. Celebration Fund, $50,000. Watershed Management Timber Sales, $50,000. Total spending authorized, $205,000.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 17. Is there any discussion? Michael.
Does anyone have any idea what the existing balance is in the revolving accounts that we're discussing here?
Just sets the limit.
And is it, my assumption here is that these limits, these authorizations to spend, assume a certain level of income coming in to each of these revolving accounts this coming year.
Yeah,
Is
it's
that
just
correct?
setting a limit.
That we're not spending out of their existing balances, correct?
No, it just sets a limit for what you can, it sets a limit.
It sets a limit, correct? But that limit of expenditures is based on the assumption that each of these
It's also
counts
a limit of how much you can't just continue, you just can't build up money in there. Those funds don't allow you just to build up
So
money
this is a
indefinitely.
limit on the amount of money that can be in the revolving fund?
Correct.
Yes.
Not the, I thought this is a limit on the amount of money that they could spend out of that fund. It's two different things.
Well, you couldn't spend.
It's kind of both.
You couldn't spend more than the limit, because that's the limit of the amount of money that can be in there. Yeah, we don't allow revolving funds to accrue, to build up money in indefinite amounts.
Tammy.
Yeah.
Does not the revolving fund go back into the general fund once the year is done? So if it's not spent, it goes back to the town.
Yeah, so you can, like, if they rent out the road grader, they collect up to $5,000, which then could be spent. So it's both, but then that's the cap, too. You can't go beyond it.
I guess it would be helpful to know the balances.
There is no.
I need to tell you, Mike, you stumped me. I don't have the balances on hand at the moment, but we can provide them. We're not close to hitting above any of these. That they're all set conservatively so that, we have enough room for the activities of each of these accounts. But I can provide the numbers separately.
Okay. Any further discussion on Article number 17? If not, all those in favor of Article number 17, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Article 17 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move we take up Article 18.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 18 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move that the town vote to appropriate from free cash the sum of $12,500 for radios for the fire and ambulance department.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 18. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of Article number 18, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Article number 18 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move we take up Article 19.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 19 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move that the town vote to appropriate from free cash the sum of $40,000 for repair of the fire department apparatus bay roof.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 19. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of Article number 19, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay. Article 19 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that we take up Article 20.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 20 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that the town vote to appropriate from free cash the sum of $60,000 to pour concrete floor, install garage door openers, electrify, and otherwise upgrade the DPW garage at Elm Court.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 20. Is there any discussion? Yep.
This is the so-called DPW annex that we're going to create down on Elm Court, right? So wasn't this brought up last year? They wanted to put a floor in and it was defeated. And I guess some of the use of that building was going to be for the parking that COA van. And maybe now there's change of what the building would be used for. And also, how does this tie in? We've spent a lot of money on the DPW building near the dump, some renovation there. And we also have a pretty large facility up the hill at the water plant. So I just wondered, what's the plan for this $60,000 of a building that's not convenient to anybody?
I'd be happy to speak on that. So last year when this came to town floor, the ask was about $140,000. Since then, we've been able to par the project down and get it down to this $60,000 number. The building previously was not slated to have the CO van stored in it. And so one of the things moving forward this year that we worked diligently with the COA was to be able to come to an agreement to store one of the vans there. So this garage has 3 bays in it. The other 2 bays would be used to store seasonal equipment for the DPW that is currently being stored outside, being affected by the sun, rain, weather. And then the other bay would be used largely to store emergency supplies for both sewer and water repairs and to move them closer to town so they're not located on opposite ends of the town. So the general plan moving forward would be that we have all 3 bays in use. We have a clear direction for where this building could be used and to put this project to bed for a substantially less number than has come up historically.
Any further discussion on Article number 20? If not, all those in favor of Article number 20, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Nay. Article 20 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move we take up Article 21.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 21 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move that the town vote to appropriate from free cash the sum of $100,500 to purchase a mini loader for use by the Department of Public Works.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 21. Is there any discussion? Mike.
Marlo, would you be so kind as to fill us all in on what I know, but what most of the people don't know about this?
Sure. So our current sidewalk machine that we've been running for 12 years is now obsolete. Parts are very difficult to come by, excuse me. And it can only be used for the winter months. That's what the machine was designed for, and that's what it's equipped to do. Replacing it with a mini loader will give us the same capability in the winter to maintain your sidewalks, but we can also use it year-round on small construction projects. It'll be a multi-use piece of equipment for, as I said, for year-round use rather than just a 3.5-month use on the current machine we have.
Any further discussion on Article number 21? If not, all those in favor of Article number 21, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article number 21 is passed.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Gagnon.
I move we take up Article 22.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 22 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Gagnon.
I move that the town vote to authorize the Select Board under General Law, Chapter 44, Section 21C, and General Law, Chapter 30B, Section 12B, to enter into a 5-year lease purchase agreement for a new vehicle beginning July 1st, 2026.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 22. Is there any discussion?
Give us the secret. What is the vehicle?
This vehicle would be purchased to replace the current fire chief's vehicle, which is on its last legs. It's been recommended both by the town mechanic and by our DPW director.
Any further discussion on Article number 22? Not all those in favor of Article number 22, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 22 is passed.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Longstreet.
I move we take up Article 23.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 23 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that the town vote to appropriate or reserve from the Community Preservation annual revenues in the amount recommended by the Community Preservation Committee for committee administrative expenses, community preservation projects, and other expenses in fiscal year 2027, with each item to be considered a separate appropriation. Appropriations from FY 2027 estimated revenues for committee administrative expenses, $12,000. From reserves for Historic Resources Reserve, $49,500. Reserves Community Housing Reserve, $49,500. Reserves Open Space Reserve, $49,500. Reserves Budgeted Reserve, $334,500. Prior year's additional reserves for Historic Resources Reserve, $6,048. Prior year's additional reserves for Community Housing Reserve, $6,048. And prior year's additional reserves for Budgeted Reserve, $6,048.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 23. Is there any discussion? Michael.
Sorry to be a pest. So this article is basically telling us that we're projected to receive $480-something thousand of CPA revenue, both from the community and by state match in 2027, and we're kind of allocating these into the various reserve buckets that the CPA has. So that's basically what this article is all about. But could someone tell us what the current balances are in each one of these reserve accounts, including the unbudgeted reserve account?
CBA, I'm sure CBA can.
I'll have it for you in a second. Let me look.
Steve here? Yeah, it's right there.
Andrew's just pulling them up.
And to answer your question, Mike, yes, that's what the first article does, is that this is a projection of what we'll be receiving. And then, by statute, we need to put it towards those certain sections, those certain items. Each one needs to be at 10%. The total balance is short of 3 million, so let me find what we have. Yeah. I'll see what I can find.
Total balance was just short of 3 million.
Before the allocations from tonight. Yeah, okay. When I find them, I'll get them to you.
Any further discussion on Article number 23? Not all those in favor of Article number 23, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 23 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move we take up Article 24.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 24 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move that the town vote to appropriate and transfer from the Community Preservation Budgeted Reserve Account upon the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee a sum of $2,025 to preserve and restore the facade, belfry, and clock enclosures of the historic town-owned clock located in the First Congregational Church steeple. This project will be under the guidance of the First Congregational Church of Hatfield. Said funds to be expended under the direction of the Community Preservation Committee.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 24. Is there any discussion? If not, yep.
Jeff Zagrodnik, Main Street. Didn't they just do a bunch of work on that last year? Is this part of a project, or?
Yeah, this is just to finish it off. It is they went $2,000 over budget because one of the materials increased in price. So this is to finish off the project.
Can we make a footnote? Can they get the thing to ring on the hour?
Marlo? Good footnote.
Thanks.
You're always good for a laugh when we're in the middle of a meeting. All right, any further discussion on Article number 24? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 24 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move we take up Article 25.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 25 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Gagnon.
I move that the town vote to appropriate by transfer from the Community Preservation Budgeted Reserve Account upon the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee a sum of $28,500 for rehabilitating and restoring the recreation, education, and open space purposes. The town-owned day pond located at Smith Academy, 34 School Street. Such project to be under the guidance of the Hatfield Select Board, Hatfield School Department, Recreation Department, Open Space Committee, and the Department of Public Works, and said funds to be expended under the direction of the Community Preservation Committee.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 25. Any discussion?
Let's understand this. A year ago, or 2 years ago, when was it, we gave $100,000 for the day pond. It's a nice little piece of water, wetland, that is used once a year for the fishing derby, which is a nice historic Hatfield event. But now they're coming back for $28,000 more. I think without somebody from CPA, or CPC, I don't know what you call it anymore, unless they could come and explain this, or the people that requested it, I think this motion should be tabled.
So I'm happy to start with an explanation of why this last amount of funds is needed, and I promise to last. And then if anyone from CPC or Fish and Game, Brian, if anyone else wants to speak, I'm sure that would be helpful. When the amount was asked for last year, that was before final cost estimates had been completed. There was pretty good estimates the whole way through of where we were at, but the final estimates hadn't been completed and we hadn't gone out to bid. We did not have a contractor in hand. Estimates came back significantly higher than what they were tracking on all along. But the bids actually came in quite favorably for the town. So our final bid that came in was around $50,000 below estimates. So after all of that, we've ended up about $28,000 above where we were expecting to be, which is pretty close considering they probably should have budgeted for more of a contingency in the beginning. So this is the last amount. The project is almost completely done. It looks great. If anyone hasn't gone down there, please check it out. But this is the final amount. We would like it to come from CPA because that's an appropriate use of those funds. Otherwise, we'll have to find somewhere in the town budget to take it from. But as I said, there's just under $3 million in CPA funds. I do have those balances. If you want them, Mike, let me know. But the funds are available. It's a great use of the funds, and it would be a better use than the town's budget.
He's right next to you.
Brian Nicholas, Main Street. As Andrew indicated, we didn't have, going into the project, firm quotes from contractors, and so we did estimate what the project would cost. And then the project spanned over 3 years because of the time that it took to permit the project. It took us over 1.5 years just to permit the thing.
Brian, can you just talk into the mic? We're not picking you up.
To permit the project with the Army Corps of Engineers. The engineer's estimate then came in fairly high. We were a little nervous, but we decided to go ahead and bid the project. The bids came in fairly close. Within the structure of the expenditure, we had an amount for amenities associated with restoring the pond that included walkways and paths and benches and things like that. And I understand that, but we had anticipated that that would be, those amenities would be covered under a separate item, and I understand that there was another means by which that money was not spent for that purpose. So part of this is for some of those expenditures. Andrew, please tell me if I'm misconstruing, but so that's how we ended up with the need for the additional funds. That actually replaces some of the funds that didn't get spent by the appropriation that was originally there for the walkways.
Thank you. Joe, hang on, we go. Joe.
Joe LaValle, Main Street. I just wanted to point out, every year it's nice to remind people that CPA funds is one of the few things that we pay a little bit into, and it's grown well, and it's one of the few things we can use to get some things fixed, done, and repaired in our town. But that committee works so precisely to match up to exactly what the state needs. And we get reimbursed for, I don't know, it used to be 90 cents on the dollar, maybe it's 60 cents on the dollar now. But all this CPA money that we vote through, we get matching state money coming back. So it's one of the few things we can put our hand out to the state and say, we're willing to spend this, but you're going to help us back. And this committee has done an incredible job for many years accomplishing this. And right now, in such tight budgets, this is our godsend at the moment to get so many of these things done. So I just say thank you to the CPA committee.
Angelica Dewey, 89 Elm Street. I'm just wondering if the walkways and the Day Pond area is being restored or renovated in compliance with ADA for all mobility impaired persons can access the area? Is it in ADA compliance?
The pathway project, some of it was completed before I came aboard. The current finishing of that, definitely ADA was taken into account when I looked at it, and the sloping and whatnot. So that specific project got tabled until next year's CPC.
So the expense for that is not included in this additional expenditure,
No, it's not. It's a separate project.
but it will be required by the state, right? I mean, if this is a change of the layout, it's mandated to be in ADA compliance?
Yes, if we put the walks in, they have to be ADA compliant.
And are there plans to do that?
We're working on that because, again, the environmental piece that the gentleman spoke about earlier, that comes into play, extending the current walkway, the pathway that's there, and also the compliance of ADA. It's a little bit of a task on those slopes to hit ADA, so it's got to have a good plan.
As it was first presented, the project was to have, allow recreational walking, passive recreation for many individuals maybe who are in the town center, Capewalk, and people who, did need additional pathways aside from the one walkway loop that the town has now. So that was, I thought, part of the plan.
Yep.
Steve Tolumsis, Depot Road. I'm the chair of the Community Preservation Committee. Some of the history. Last year we did appropriate $91,700. The inland dredging program that Mr. Nicholas and the Day Pond folks, our Hatfield's own Big Dig, the grant was, Hatfield didn't receive the grant, the inland dredging program ended. And so this was towards that purpose. And then midway through the CPA cycle, which starts November 1st, Town Administrator Mr. Levine approached us and said that they, good news, bad news, that they went over, they didn't go over as much as they had feared. And so similar to the town clock, where specifically gold paint and the rental costs for the lift went over 2025. That project's fully complete, beautifully coordinated by Congregational Church people, including Mark Gillott. This is, we were all in with this, with other years of Democratic voting it up, and the committee decided to bring it to town floor tonight for the remaining costs for Day Pond. So this is historically connected to the dredging issue. Would that be correct? Okay, thank you.
Okay. Is there any other discussion on Article number 25? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 25 passes.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that we take up Article number 26.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 26 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that the town vote to appropriate by transfer from the Community Preservation Historic Resources Reserve account upon the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee a sum of $50,000 to restore and rehabilitate the Cutter Farm Museum barn siding and roofing. Such project to be under the guidance of the Select Board, Hatfield Historical Commission, and Department of Public Works, and said funds to be expended under the direction of the Community Preservation Committee.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 26. Is there any discussion?
Patrick Harper, Bridge Street. Just curious, the $40,000 for last year for the same exact project, what did we do with that money? Now it's turning into $90,000 to re-side a barn.
Yep, excellent question. So last year's funds were contingent on applying for a grant with the state's Historic Preservation Funds projects, and it was that grant was submitted for this year, so we're hoping to get a matching grant to be able to fund the entire cost of the project. which has now increased to around, I believe it's $140,000 because of the roofing materials and siding that's been chosen to be consistent with the historic barn under the preservation restriction there. And the money this year went into architectural and architectural fees and design and grant fees as well.
Any further discussion on Article number 26? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? Article 26 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move we take up Article 27.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 27 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move that the town vote to appropriate by transfer from Community Preservation Budgeted Reserve Account upon the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee a sum of $72,000 to restore and install for recreational and open space purposes new and upgraded playground equipment at School Street Playground, it being the intent of the town to dedicate the said School Street Playground area as land protected under Article 97 of the Massachusetts Constitution, such project to be under the guidance of the Hatfield Select Board, Recreation Committee, and Department of Public Works, and said funds to be expended under direction of the Community Preservation Committee.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 27. Is there any discussion?
Okay. This is great. I mean, we don't have a playground, this little town. We could walk around the dike, we could go a lot of places, walk to the square, but we don't have a playground. And I guess my concern here is, as a former parent in the last century, is this a good location? It's not a large piece of land. It was recently used more for pickleball and the basketball courts that are, destroyed, obliviated, if we use that word. But maybe there's some alternative to School Street. This is the front of the Milkman School, I'm assuming. So, the school has a lot of property. Behind the center school is the Smith Academy has a lot of land. There must be other town land that we could build a beautiful playground for the children in the town.
Yes, thank you. The current playground that's there is pretty much in disrepair. This project would include a new fence, which is falling over the current stockade fence. It'd be replaced with chain link fence with privacy slats. Proper fall protection, meaning certified wood chips going in at 16 inches deep for children when they fall, which is a regulation. Remove the current bubble structure that's there, and two structures would be added to that current playground. When I put the project together, I thought it would be a really good fix-up or repair to the basketball court and the pickleball court, as that area is well used when they have events on the Smith Academy Park, I believe it's called, next to the town hall. So either way, it's got to be upgraded. Like I said, the fence is falling down, so on and so forth. And everything that will be going in there will be meeting ADA specs also. The swing set will be staying, but we'll be adding an ADA accessible swing to that apparatus.
Any further discussion on Article number 27? If not, all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 27 is passed.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Gagnon.
I move we take up Article 28.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 28 as in your handout.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Gagnon.
I move that the town vote to appropriate by transfer from Community Preservation Community Housing Reserve Account upon the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee a sum of $100,000 to build affordable housing at 7 Elm Street. Such project to be under the guidance of the Select Board, and said funds to be expended under the direction of the Community Preservation Committee, and subject to the conditions concerning project eligibility placed on funding voted on by the Community Preservation Committee at the time of its approval of the said transfer.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 28. Is there any discussion? Yes.
Kim McGovern, Main Street. I'm curious to know if that's empty land that they want to purchase so they could build future affordable housing, or if it's a rehab. Can somebody give us some details about this?
I think he's coming up to the side.
Hi, everyone. My name is Michael Bartlett. I'm the owner of 7 Elm Street. And for brevity and clarity, I prepared a few words. Tonight, I'm asking for final approval of a CPA community housing grant to fund the permitting of an 8-unit apartment building at 7 Elm Street, which will include 2 subsidized moderate income units. Why are we doing this? In order to build an apartment building of this type, an application to the state of Massachusetts must be submitted prior to any application to the town of Hatfield. The state determines if the project is economically feasible, meets the subsidized moderate income design standards, and addresses any environmental concerns, and determines its architectural appropriateness for the neighborhood. The state application is very detailed and complex, way beyond my abilities. If this grant receives final approval tonight, it will fund architectural services, environmental engineering, permitting, and attorney fees. The CPA doesn't write a check and deposit into my account. They control a dedicated bank account and review invoices for these pre-construction actions. For this project, the CPA will be advised by a housing advocate organization such as the Massachusetts Housing Partnership, to use their years of experience in this field to approve all the invoices.
So,
One of the buckets.
Hang on,
of
Larry.
CP.
Hang on, Larry. I'm just going to, Luke was starting to talk, and then I'll get to you.
Sorry.
Yep, no, you're good.
Just to further clarify for you, as Mike has proposed in a couple other meetings for us, it is to replace a barn that is existing on the property within the same footprint. That's correct? Yes.
Go ahead, Larry, now. Thank you.
In CPC money, one of the buckets is housing, and it's never been adequately used in this town. We have a housing problem. It's evident by there's guidelines that the state sets. We're supposed to have so much affordable housing. We're way below that. So actually a developer could so-called ram through a project that we might not have any control over. I think what Mike's doing here is probably trying to be a little more friendly about the development. But I just want to point out, it's an 8-unit development. The state guidelines say if 25% of a project is dedicated for low income or senior, I believe would also qualify, then the whole project could be called eligible for the CPC funding. So Michael Bartlett is 100% following the guidelines. He's not getting a $100,000 check in his personal checking account. My objection, and not even just for Mike's project, is that we need to think much more globally about housing in this town. And I think we're doing it tonight. We're talking about a housing trust, and we're talking about there's 2 other housing articles here. So I'm just wondering if this project, which is insignificant, 2 units barely moves the needle on the housing number in Hatfield. And while I don't want to penalize Mike Bartlett for taking the initiative as a developer, I wonder if this is the best way to approach this housing crisis, because we are talking about it later tonight as to create the housing trust.
Go ahead, Mike.
The 2 units are to be deemed subsidized housing inventory units, which means they're income eligible apartment units. But since the state is so far behind in developing, they're counting all 8 units as the subsidized housing inventory. So in the last housing production plan in 2016, the suggestion was to add 8 units per year. And I think we got to start now. The last time a subsidized housing unit was created in Hatfield was 1970 at Capewalk.
Carrie? And then I'll get to you, Joe.
Carrie Flaherty, Primrose Path. So I'm part of this CPC and went through a lot of these meetings that Mike came to. I'm part of the Housing Authority Committee, and I cannot express tonight how important it is to pass this article and start this project and process, because we are way behind the 8 ball in this town for doing this project and doing what we need to do. We're going to lose out on possibility of grants, et cetera, from the state if we don't get our housing up. And the fact comes to be, at the end of the day, Michael's doing what our town as Hatfield would want as a setting for a project. If somebody else wants to come in this town and do a 40B project, the only people who can say anything against that project is the fire department as the chief and the DPW director. Planning board and nobody else has a say in those 40B projects. So having Michael come in as somebody the town knows, and he's lived here his whole life, and he has a commitment and a dedication to this town, this is the type of project that we should be supporting and supporting the CPC money to be spent on.
Joe?
You know, we've been watching the town of Leverett live with 4,000 or 5,000 houses coming in, and they're doing it by an outside corporation, and they can't stop them. But if we start with somebody from our town doing this, I looked through and I listened to all these meetings. By the way, you guys have done a great job on YouTube. I think you're so informative. But to watch how daunting it is to go through this process would scare most people away. Yet we need housing for our, well, I'm getting older, for our grandchildren, for our kids. But we need to help this prosper and grow. And here's a start where he's been involved with CPA, he knows it, he's a builder, he understands it. And to go through this process, he at least is gaining us the knowledge of how it's done. So the next time any one of you comes forward and says, hey, I might want to add something in my yard and have a few houses because I live up on the mountain, he knows how to do it, and CPA will know how to do it in the process. So this is a very inexpensive step to do this for us to learn and figure out before somebody comes from out of state, some huge corporation, and just shoves it up us. So I applaud him for trying this, and I really think we should give this a shot. Thank you.
Michael?
Quick question for Mike. Are these rental apartments, or are these going to be condominiums?
Subsidized rentals.
Steve? Yep.
Steve Tlemcen again. Actually, Michael Bartlett resigned from he was the senior member of the Community Preservation Committee, and ethics decision by an attorney was that in order to do this application, he had to resign his position, a loss for the town. This is incrementalism. We're not going to do a holistic, magical, immediate solution of Hatfield's affordable housing at 2.7% matter. It's also something that's been instructive and will continue to be instructive. This could be an exemplary project. There'll be housing consultant monies available, and the utilization of that can have other projects, perhaps by Michael Bartlett or others, fit into the quality, the character, the culture of Hatfield, because similar to the next article with the housing production plan, if we don't start doing this, we are at risk for unfriendly 40Bs, where we don't have a lot to say, and it could be counter to our town's tastes and wishes. It's a bothersome and baroque process. He has a headache probably right now, and he's going to have a headache for a couple years doing this. It's very involved, and so it's a great thing. We have a very long motion that I won't read that was officially part of the minutes that safeguards the process and is also going to be instructive about the steps and prerequisite steps, et cetera. So this will really facilitate future, really planfully well done affordable housing opportunities in the town. Thank you.
Any further discussion? Adam.
Mr. Moderator?
Yes.
Adam Sullivan, Main Street. I would like to move the question.
Okay. So we've had a motion to move the question. Is there a second? Okay. All those in favor of moving the question, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay. So now from here, there's no further discussion. All those in favor of Article number 28, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 28 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that we take up Article number 29.
Motion's been made and seconded to take up Article number 29 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that the town vote to appropriate by transfer from the Community Preservation Community Housing Reserve account upon the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee a sum of $40,000 to create a housing production plan, such project to be under the guidance of the Select Board, and send funds to be expended under the direction of the Community Preservation Committee.
You've heard the motion made and seconded at Article number 29. Is there any discussion? If not, all those in favor of Article number 29, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 29 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move we take up Article 30.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 30 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Jaworski.
I move that the town vote to appropriate by transfer from Community Preservation Open Space Reserve account upon the recommendation of the Community Preservation Committee a sum of $4,724 to contribute as a town match for the agricultural preservation restriction under the Commonwealth of Massachusetts Department of Agricultural Resources for Gowanka Farm. Such project to be under the guidance of the Select Board, the Open Space Committee, and the Agricultural Advisory Committee, and said funds to be expended under the direction of the Community Preservation Committee.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 30. Is there any discussion? Not all those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 30 is passed.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Gagnon.
I move we take up Article 31.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 31 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Gagnon.
There is a clerical error in this motion, and I will be changing it as I read it to where it says 65, or correction, section 55 will be a capital C after that. I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of General Law, Chapter 41, Section 55, capital C.
Greg, can you go back? You said 41 instead of 44.
Oh, gee, here we go.
Elena's keeping us on our toes here as the meeting wanes on.
I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of GLC 44, Section 55, capital C, to allow the town to create a municipal affordable housing trust fund.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 31. And again, so this was just a clerical error that we've amended with a friendly amendment to just fix that. So it's capital C is the motion. Is there any discussion under Article number 31?
Sorry, this is just a request for an explanation of what this kind of trust fund does, what it can be spent on, how it's allocated. What are we approving?
Yes, that's an excellent question. And there is a handout in your packet as well, which gives more information about this. Affordable housing trusts can use funding for a number of items, including for affordable housing development. So whereas we have a housing authority which manages the public housing, so housing owned by the town, this is for privately owned affordable housing. So this could help to fund developers to use as leverage when applying for other resources. It could also help fund down payment assistance programs. Other towns across the state have done that. It could also help to purchase units if they're coming off of a subsidized housing inventory and potentially going to be available for private use, no longer subsidized. The funds could go to purchase those if that was desired. So there's a number of things that housing trusts across the state have used those funds on. It's not unlimited. It's pretty well regulated, but there's a number of things that we could use for building more affordable housing here in town.
Any further discussion on Article number 31? Yeah, Michael.
Yeah, creating this trust is the answer to what Larry was just asking about a few minutes ago. This is the overarching organization or entity that will basically be proactive in looking at the, particularly the affordable housing issue in Hatfield, but also its goal will be to try to develop and bring in affordable housing in the community, and it will be actually overseen by a set of trustees. I think there's 5 people that will be the trustees of this fund, and their primary goal will be to go out and be proactive, look for developers, look for any other organizations that might be interested in developing housing, affordable housing in the community. And that's something that we really need to have done, and that's what Larry was talking about. My only concern about this particular article is I think it's very, very general. And I'd like to amend it by adding a purpose to it. And the language that I have is something that actually comes from state guidance. And I think it might make sense for us to do that. So I do have language here that I can provide to Elena. If you want, I can read it first before I provide it to her.
Obviously, we'll put it up, we'll get it on the form. So while Michael's doing that, is there any other general discussion on Article 31?
Oh, you can't. That's right.
This is when you have the job description and it says other duties as required. Michael, yeah.
In my research in this field, I researched Affordable Housing Trust, and it opens up a new funding source from the state and federal block grants. So us starting this will be, a big reason to get federal and state money to do this. So there's absolutely no reason not to.
I'll add is, there was another town yesterday that created a trust, or they have a trust, and they were making a vote at town meeting. We should know that it's not just to create housing or explore housing. They were actually giving down payment assistance and other means to help people purchase a house. So it actually has a fairly wide umbrella of purpose, this trust fund. And we're basically just adopting the state template for this.
Both fortunately and unfortunately, there's very strict rules when we make amendments. So it both protects us, but also we do have to go through the proper procedure. So appreciate everyone's patience. You good?
Yep. Okay. So he is amending the motion to add this paragraph at the end, following this motion. So this will be right after the next sentence will be, sorry, I'm going to start from the beginning. He is adding a paragraph after this first sentence in the motion. So I'm going to read the whole thing together so it makes sense. I move that the town vote to accept the provisions of General Law, Chapter 44, Section 55, capital C, to allow the town to create a municipal affordable housing trust fund. This is where I'm adding. The purpose of the trust is to provide for the creation and preservation of affordable housing in the town of Hatfield for the benefit of low and moderate income households, including housing for seniors, veterans, and workforce households, and to support residents' ability to age in place through the acquisition, development, rehabilitation, and preservation of housing consistent with the applicable Community Preservation Act requirements for income eligibility where such funds are used.
Okay, so that's the motion that Michael has made. Before we go further, is there a second to that motion? Okay, we have a second. So now we are discussing the amendment that is on the floor. I think Steph, and then we'll get to you, Rich. Yep.
Stephanie Slish, Elm Street. As much as I appreciate Mike's amendment, I also am concerned that, we have town council look at all of these warrant articles before we put them up to vote, and I'm a little concerned about us amending at the last minute, something that maybe because of a wordsmithing issue might not be legally defensible, and then we end up for some reason having to delay actually us implementing this housing trust. And so while, again, I appreciate the spirit, Mike, of what you're doing here, and in theory I agree with you, I'm just concerned it sets us up for some legal issue or loophole that will end up preventing us from adopting this if we choose to approve your amendment.
Rich.
Rich Abbott, Elm Street. I had a similar concern whether that, amendment would somehow limit the trust function in the future. I'm not sure. It's hard to follow everything that was listed there, but there may be things that weren't listed there the trust would want to do in the future that would have to come back to the town board, a town meeting at some point.
So I see some sidebar conversation. Alan.
Good evening. I understand the intent of the motion to amend. At this point, we're just simply adopting the statute. The statute is what the statute is, and if the town would like to somehow limit the options for the use of this trust fund, that would probably be better put forth in a separate warrant article at a future town meeting. All we're doing now, all you're being asked to do is to accept the statute so that we have the trust fund, and then we can go from there to appropriate funds or do whatever needs to be done going forward. I heard what you heard very quickly read, and so I couldn't recount everything that's in the motion, but my concern is that there are possible uses of this trust fund that weren't included in that list, and the town may be in the future limited in what it can do if it were to impose those kinds of limits on the trust. But today, all that's being requested is that the trust fund, the statute be accepted, because this is what we call a local acceptance statute. It doesn't apply to any city or town that hasn't voted to accept it. Once you've accepted it, then you can debate exactly how you should use the funds in the trust fund.
So is there any further discussion on the amendment? If not, okay, so first what we need to do, just so everyone's clear, we first need to vote on the amendment that's on the floor. So I'll first ask for all those in favor of amending Article number 31, please signify by saying aye. All those opposed to amending the article, please signify by saying nay. Nay. Okay, so the amendment has failed. We've now reverted back to the original article as read in the motion with the friendly amendment that was there. Is there any further discussion on Article 31 now? If not, all those in favor of Article 31, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Article 31 is passed.
Mr. Moderator,
Mr. Longstreet.
I move that we take up Article 32.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 32 is in your handout.
I move that the town vote to amend the Town of Hatfield zoning bylaws and all related subsections of the Hatfield zoning bylaws so that they include the new section titled 6.8 Battery Energy Storage Systems as set forth in the annual town meeting warrant.
You've heard the motion made and seconded under Article number 32, and there is a handout for this, and the entire text that is very lengthy was in the warrant article. I will give a moment if anyone does have any questions on that, but again, I know it's a longer one there, so if there's any discussion or questions on Article 32, we'll take those. And I'll just give a brief moment in case anyone's just referencing the handout. Okay. Steph, yes, no?
Hi, Stephanie Slish, Elm Street. I'm also chair of the planning board. I mean, I could just like let everyone sit and read, or I can just briefly orally, go over what this bylaw does. It currently addresses a gap in our zoning bylaws. Again, it's the last page of the warrant packet. It's in color, so you could take a look at that. But basically, battery energy storage systems are best. You might have seen some articles in the Gazette or some stuff on the news about them in neighboring communities. This is a state. Basically a mandate from the state. BESS stores electricity for later use. It's often paired with renewable energy like solar. These systems are part of the state's broader clean energy transition, so whether we personally support or have questions about them, one thing's clear, they're part of a state mandate and towns are required to accommodate them. We can't outright ban them, so in order to regulate them, we need to have something in our bylaws. The most important issue before us is not whether BESS will come to Hatfield, but whether Hatfield has any meaningful role in shaping how they're developed if they do come to town. So right now, because our zoning bylaws don't address battery storage at all, that means if a proposal comes forward, we have really limited tools to guide where it goes, how it's designed, how it fits with our community. So in many cases, smaller scale or personal battery storage on individual parcels, projects that meet basic building and fire code requirements could move forward with minimal local zoning review. This really tackles more larger scale projects. And then this urgency really increases because in July 2026, if we do not adopt local regulations or meaning this bylaw, larger scale projects will become eligible for an expedited state approval process that essentially removes any meaningful local input if we don't have any bylaw in place. So without any action in improving this bylaw tonight, we risk losing our voice in these decisions. So this article defines where medium and large battery storage systems are located and where they're not located. It ensures these projects have planning board review, meaning that abutters should be notified in establishing local public process. And it sets standards for setbacks and screening and other vegetation, noise mitigation for these larger scale projects. So this is about us trying to be proactive, a proactive response to a mandate from the Commonwealth so that we're not reacting to decisions made by the state. So hopefully you'll support the planning board's Article 32. Thanks.
Okay. Any further discussion on Article number 32? Not all those in favor of Article number 32, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, nay? Okay, and again, this is a 2/3, so per our bylaws, I just need to make sure, if anyone contesting, Article 32 is passing. And if not, Article 32 is passed.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Jaworski.
I move we take up Article 33.
The motion has been made and seconded to take up Article number 33 is in your handout.
Mr. Moderator.
Mr. Jaworski.
I move that the town vote to hear any and all reports which have to do with the welfare of the town.
Okay. If there is anyone that has anything you'd like to offer, if not, with that, before we do conclude, as has been customary, I do want to take a moment and ask for everyone to please take a moment of silence. Again, as unfortunately every year, we have lost many of our residents. We've lost some of our past coworkers here in the town. Also, moment of silence for our military, those who are serving, those who have served, and our veterans for what they've done to help us and protect us and the conflicts that are going on now. And then also for our public safety officials, who are often there when we need them most. So if we can just take a moment of silence and reflect and appreciate everyone in that, I appreciate it. Thank you, everyone. With that, I'd like to thank everyone for coming here tonight. Again, I want to thank all of our town employees, our boards, our committees, for all the time and effort they put in. I, again, as always, want to thank John Novak and his team here. The work that John does throughout the year, as it's mentioned multiple times with Community Access TV, is such a great resource for us. So if we could get a round of applause for John and the team here tonight. And then also, I want to remind everyone, next Tuesday, please come out and vote. Again, that's kind of step 2 of our big part of our process here in our self-government. Polls are open from 7 a.m. to 8 p.m. at Town Hall. With that, I appreciate everyone being here. Thank you for your time. Travel safely. And with that, I hereby dissolve this town meeting.